Pretty well every step of the Elephant, Bear and Bull 100 is a step through history. Not just because of landmarks like Kenilworth Castle here, or the half-timbered buildings of Shakespeare's Stratford, of Warwick, of medieval Coventry, or indeed because of the industrial heritage of the canals that take us into Stratford and then on a surprisingly green route into Birmingham towards the end of this 100-mile challenge. It's also historic because much of the route passes through what was once the ancient Forest of Arden, which covered a large part of the Warwickshire landscape north of the River Avon, as well as Coventry and what's now the city of Birmingham. By the 16th century, much of the forest had disappeared, though we do pass through ancient patches of woodland, including one between Tamworth in Arden and Henley in Arden. But as you walk through this mellow landscape, you might be struck by the large number of oak trees, a legacy of that forest. In times gone by, it was impenetrable and considered quite dangerous. The Romans chose to go round it. The LDWA strides purposely through, safe in the knowledge that it's been more than 1,000 years since bears roamed the forest. The delights of walking in the lesser-known parts of the Worcestershire and Warwickshire countryside will be new to many on the Elephant, Bear and Bull 100. I live here and parts of the route have been a surprise to me. It's a mostly pastoral landscape, generally pleasant, understated, in parts quite lovely. Some people might think this is going to be an easy 100, if there could be such a thing, and well, it might be, relatively speaking. But if it rains and the rain churns up the slippery West Midlands clay, people could yet be in for a challenging time. It all starts here at Birmingham Moseley Rugby Club. From here, walkers set out across Billersley Common to the Stratford Canal, and then its suburban streets and cycle paths to the Waisley Hills Country Park, which will offer great views over the city. For me now, just time for a high-speed recce. Our 100-mile journey begins with a pleasant winding route on good paths through young woodland and wild areas that quickly takes us to the Stratford Canal, the same one we followed towards the end of day one. There's plenty to enjoy along the fairly short stretch to its northern terminus. This most unusual guillotine lock is designed to keep the water level in the Stratford Canal an inch higher than that in the Worcester and Birmingham Canal, just a couple of 100 yards from here. And then suddenly I didn't feel like going any further. And that was fine, because in July 2022 I accompanied EBB 100 organiser Michael Jones on a 40-mile circuit that followed the event route out through the suburbs, past the old Rubery Hill and Hollymore Hospital, to the Waisley and Lickey Hills and beyond. We were joined by the delightful Jerome of London LDWA Group. Where are we now?
We're at Beacon Hill, which is one of the Lickey Hills just on the southern edge of Birmingham. This was owned by the Cadbury brothers, the chocolate family. They donated it to the people of Birmingham for use for recreation. See behind me, the Mock Castle, which was built to commemorate the gift. In the middle of the castle, there's a toposcope showing all the places that can be seen from here. On a day like today, you can't see very much.
But what you can see is dog poop in.
The story with this is that when we were first drafting the 100 route description, I pointed out to Anne, who is our route coordinator, rather a lot of references to dog poo bins in the route description, and suggested that perhaps she could use DPB as one of the standard abbreviations. So when entrants on the 100 pass here, they will find that the route description refers to a red DPB.
Where are we, Michael?
We're at Barnt Green Station. The 100 route actually goes through the station. The path comes down from the Lickey Hills, over the bridge, down to the platform in the middle, and we're along the platform, and just up the end is a path which goes up to the road.
You're not quite making history.
Yes, we were just commenting that it is only the second 100 route to go through a station. The first one was the Games 100 in 2012, which went through Merstham.
From Barnt Green, it's a short climb up to cross the motorway into the Worcestershire countryside. Walkers will soon find themselves dropping down through gently bumpy wildflower meadows, slightly squelchy in places, crossing the canal at Withybed Green and easing into neighbouring Alvechurch. Not far beyond here, Michael, Jerome and I branched off across country and then rejoined the EBB 100 route on its approach into Birmingham, having first climbed the landmark Hob Hill. In November 2022, Barnt Green Station was the starting point for the third of 6 social walks covering the entire 100 circuit.
So we're now on to part 3 of my EBB 100 social walk, and we're going today from here, Barnt Green, to Henley. It's about 14 miles.
The walk was led by route planner Anne Wade, who'd been given a set of checkpoints and the job of finding an attractive trail between them, which she did. Before long, we were back in a familiar churchyard.
This is Alvechurch Church, and behind me is the Ark, which is their church hall, and this will be checkpoint 3 on the EBB 100. Alvechurch in the Doomsday only had about 20 people who lived here. However, there was a bishop who built a bishop's palace on the east side of the village. Unfortunately, it was demolished in the 17th century, and only part of the moat and a yew tree remain, and that's it. I'm very excited. This is the infant River Orne, and it marks a boundary of Worcestershire on the other side and Warwickshire on this side. So we're very excited to be crossing the county boundary. And what's more, we have a new bridge. Previously there was a wooden one which fell apart and disappeared, so for 2 years there has been no bridge here, and we have had to wade across the river, which hasn't been great. And I was very much hoping that in time for EBB 100 we would have a new bridge, and hey presto, here it is.
Is it because of the EBB 100?
It has been reported several times, so possibly.
Here we are at Tanworth in Arden. This was the town where Frederick Sanger grew up. He's the only person to have won the Nobel Prize for Chemistry twice.
And you're sitting on his bench.
Yes, we're at the green here in front of St Mary Magdalene Church in Tanworth, and this bench is a memorial to Frederick Sanger.
That was lovely. Thank you very much, Anne. Great day.
It's just such wonderful countryside. It's just amazing.
Beautiful rolling country. It's terrific. It's been a lovely day, and it's just part of the 100. So there's far more to come, guys.
The fourth social walk along the EBB 100 route started in the ancient town of Henley and Arden, which is still technically ruled over by a court leet and some rather grandly dressed officials.
I'm the High Bailiff of Henley and Arden Court Leet. The Court Leet is a body that was set up in medieval times to run the town. There are 32 court leets left in the country. All the others were disbanded in 1977. My job is to manage the court, the 16 members on the court, ranging from an ale taster to a brook looker to an affaira. We also have to maintain this guild hall, which was built in 1448 from wood that was cut from the Forest of Arden. And the Forest of Arden wood was taken down to Southampton to put in ships to take on the Armada. We'd already beaten the Armada, so all the wood was shipped back and then put in here. So my job is to manage the court, front the town, chair meetings, but primarily to maintain the antiquity of the court and the guild hall. We've got a beautiful guild hall here and Guildhall Gardens and Jubilee Gardens.
We've got nearly 500 walkers coming through here on a 100-mile challenge walk. Are they going to need to worry about you and your court?
Providing they don't upset anybody.
The 100 route out of Henley and Arden starts with a short, fairly steep climb up to the Mount, the site of Beaudesert Castle. I've checked the pronunciation with the High Bailiff, apparently that is correct. I'm looking forward to seeing the scenery between here and Stratford upon Avon properly for the first time, because although I joined quite a large group on that social walk, we only really got a very misty impression.
We're on the southern part of the Stratford Canal, and this part of the canal has very cute bridges with the white crisscrossing in the middle of them, and to have a hole in the middle through which you can pass the rope for the horses when they're going along. As well as that, you'll see later on that the lockkeepers' cottages are actually arched in the shape of the bridges as well, and so this is unique to the Stratford Canal. And for me, the Stratford Canal is my favourite because of all these lovely cute features and the fact that it seems to be surrounded by countryside pretty much its whole way. Stile and footbridge has been reported to Warwickshire on numerous occasions, and nothing has been done about it just yet. There are quite a number of stiles and so on that we have reported, and if they have been subsequently repaired, they've not been repaired by Warwickshire, they've been repaired by a voluntary group such as the Stratford Ramblers or Kenilworth Footpath Preservation Society or a Coventry Way Association. It seems to be that they are relying on voluntary bodies in order to repair footpath furniture.
But what do they say to you when you contact them?
They just ignore us.
Completely?
We get no response at all, other than an acknowledgement.
Oh, you got that?
Yeah, I got an acknowledgement. But apparently they're supposed to do something within 2 years of the report, but it hasn't happened yet.
We're here in the village of Wilmcote, just outside Stratford. Although you can't see it very well, just behind me is Mary Arden's farm, which was where William Shakespeare's mother lived prior to her marriage. She married John Shakespeare at Aston Cantlow, which is a few miles further away from Stratford. Then they moved there after their marriage. The farm here was bought by the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust, along with Palmer's Farm next door to it, which was owned by a family friend. There's a slightly funny story behind that one, which is that they originally bought the other farm and thought that was Mary Arden's, and then they found some older documents which showed that actually that one wasn't at all. It was the one next door, but fortunately the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust already owned the one next door because they'd bought it just as a generic Tudor-era farm before realising that was the one where Mary Arden lived.
We've just been through Mary Arden's farm, and here on our left here, this is Mary Arden's house. Mary Arden is the mother of Shakespeare. Hey guys, obviously we've got William Shakespeare statue there, and then his birthplace is just here, and we're going to leave the 100 route now and make our way to the station. Okay.
It's been great fun. Fabulous to walk with everyone, a huge group, and we're all looking forward to the event in May.
What are you going to do on it?
Oh, I'm helping out. I've no idea what, but I've put my name down, so I don't know where I shall be, but I shall look forward to it.
We're now in Stratford upon Avon, famous the hometown of William Shakespeare, and right behind me is his birthplace on Henley Street. He was born here in 1564. It's popularly said to be the 23rd of April because people like to believe that England's greatest playwright was born on St George's Day. Actually, we don't know that for certain because civil registration of births in England and Wales only started in 1837.
Do we know when he died?
So his date of death was definitely the 23rd of April, and that was in 1616. So it might have been his 52nd birthday, or it might have been slightly later.